In today's service, we're talking about how one might experience grief in a godly way, and we're very pleased to have Denise Ellis with us today. Denise has experienced some grief in her life, and she's going to be talking about that a little bit. And so when we experience loss, we all grieve. So Denise, would you share with us some of your experience of loss?
Yes. Throughout my life, I have experienced deaths of family members, illness, those things, but probably the loss that has most significantly affected me was the death of my sister, who passed away from breast cancer. It's hard to believe. It's been 15 years ago that she passed.
And would you share with us some of what that experience was like then and what that experience has continued to be like for you?
I think that what I've realized is that in some ways everybody experiences grief a little differently. But grief is hard, and it sometimes feels messy, and it is not a straight line. I think my own grief journey has kind of taken twists and turns. There are times that I felt like I was okay. I was managing that loss. And there are other times that it seems like in an instant I'm right back at that beginning spot. So I think that's been something that I have learned over these 15 years, is that it's a journey. That makes it really challenging.
And as you speak of there being what I would say waves of grief, and there are spaces in between, what are some of the primary emotions you experienced in those different times?
Well, I think initially, my sister had been ill for a long time. So although I think I initially still experienced some denial, I had actually probably started grieving the death of my sister before she actually passed. Because in that instance, it was, having a family member with a terminal illness. But still in those immediate times and moments right after her passing, of course I had sadness, I had denial, but was really interesting in that situation was I had the beautiful addition of a daughter 10 days after 10 days before my sister passed. So it was an interesting and challenging time because we had this unbelievably joyful thing that had happened in our entire family, while at the same time we had this tremendous loss. So, I was kind of all over the place, with my emotions, to be honest. But we found that God's timing is perfect, and that we were able to cling to the joy of that child, and also, as odd as it sounds, the blessing that my sister had passed, and that we knew that she was well. She was restored. There was no pain, no illness in heaven.
So having that confidence that your sister is in heaven and no longer struggling and suffering, how would you say that your faith in Jesus impacted the way you grieved and the way you still grieve?
Well, I really clung to that like a security blanket, because in those not so great times when I'm angry, still at moments angry about the loss of my sister, I really just tried to cling to the fact that she's waiting for me.
Yeah. So your faith in Jesus gives you a hope,
yes,
a sense of promise that one day you will be reunited, but that doesn't remove the sadness and sometimes the anger
right,
that comes with that. So Denise, for anyone who might be experiencing a, a, sense of grief over any number of kinds of losses. Yes. what would you want to say to them today?
To hold on. Even in times that you feel like Jesus is far away, he's not. And that it does get better. It never disappears, but it gets better.
One might say, grieving is the price of truly loving.
Yes.
And the more we love, we may grieve the more. And it might be that for some people, they need some professional help in talking to someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
In the grieving process, and to know we're not alone.
Yes.
Whether it's through God's Spirit being with us, or whether it's the community of faith, the church. And you're an important part of us, and we appreciate so much your sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.